today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Tomorrow, on the undercard of Okoli versus Chris Billum-Smith, we're going to be seeing unbeaten Karis Artingstall versus unbeaten Jay Taylor. I'll make it quick. Refresh your memory because I've talked about this fight already. I believe that this fight is going to be a mirror image of Karis Artingstall's last fight with Lindsey Buczynski, a common opponent between her and Jay Taylor. In the Buczynski fight, you saw that Buczynski couldn't stop Karis Artingstall's forward momentum, stepping into her straight punches, closing in, backing her into the ropes,
leading the charge, and leading the dance.
Fighters like Lindsey Buczynski, like I expect from Jay Taylor tomorrow, they end up with their back against the ropes, not being able to hold the center of the ring because they don't have the feet to maneuver around Karis Artingstall, who's very aggressive.
They can't hold the center of the ring, they ain't got the movement for it, and they ain't got the power, the offense to fight her off, to fight her back.
Jay Taylor, she's got a professional record of 5-0 to Karis, who's got a record of 3-0. She's got 2 more fights than Karis does, but not all unbeaten fighters are created equal. Karis is proof of that.
She's special.
She's a southpaw, a spiteful one, and I do love me a spiteful southpaw a la Carolyn Dubois.
A la Karis Artingstall tomorrow.
Jay Taylor's going to get outworked. Jay Taylor is going to get out-hustled and out-muscled by Karis Artingstall. That's my prediction. Conservatively, you could go with Karis on points, but she's developing more and more fight by fight, so I don't rule out a knockout. I don't rule out a stoppage.
Might be a battle of the unbeatens.
But Jay Taylor ain't got Karis Artingstall's ceiling. That's what separates them, and Karis will create clear and apparent separation tomorrow. That's what I anticipate. The Buczynski fight was little more than just a rehearsal for this fight.
It's a battle of the unbeatens, but for Karis, it's a little more than just a developmental fight, a bring-along fight.
Having seen the footage of Jay Taylor in action, and she is a good, serviceable fighter.
She is, but I don't get the sense that Karis is in any danger of losing her tomorrow, so I do have Karis Artingstall winning the fight.
Points, decision, and knockout. Karis to win is the way to go.
Just don't see her losing.
Also set to go down in the UK on the undercard of Lara versus Wood 2. The rematch, reigning WBA junior middleweight champion Terry Harper will be defending her title for the first time against former IBF welterweight champion turned junior middleweight Ivana Habazin of Croatia. Ivana abandoned ship on what was supposed to be the Jessica McCaskill fight. She was Jessica's mandatory.
By way of more than one alphabet organization, she had Jessica by the balls.
Jessica McCaskill, who still reigns as a champion at welterweight, she had no choice but to fight Ivana Habazin, and it was my understanding that they were looking to do that fight sometime in the summer months, but as soon as this opportunity came about,
Ivana jumped on it.
Cecilia Brækhus, having pulled out of the fight with Terry that was supposed to go down last week on the undercard of Taylor versus Cameron, Terry Harper needed a dance partner. Ivana Habazin stepped in, and here we are.
Terry's gonna fuck her up.
Ivana, in spite of being a former champion, she's not in Terry Harper's league, and there aren't very many nice ways to say that.
So forgive me if I'm being curt.
Brash, even. But there are not very many polite ways to say that I think Terry Harper is going to have her way with Ivana Habazin. This climb up to junior middleweight has resulted in a sharp Terry Harper, a fast and strong Terry Harper that doesn't have to emaciate herself anymore, doesn't have to boil down.
To make 130, to make 135.
She retains all of her finer qualities that we saw at the lower weights. She's sharper, quicker than your average junior middleweight because she's not a true junior middleweight. She's a smaller fighter that moved up in weight, moved up several weight classes to 154 pounds, where she reigns as that division's WBA champion. I anticipate this is going to be target practice for Terry.
Yeah.
Ivana Habazin has always had leaky defense, slow hands and slow feet. I don't think she's going to be able to keep up with or keep on Terry Harper without getting tagged as Terry stays behind that jab.
She's got feet too, don't forget.
Terry's best punches, being her straight punches, are complemented by her mobility, her ability to use the ring, move around, move and punch.
Best punches are her straight punches. Some ability mid-range to inside, but she's not a mid-range fighter, not really.
A lot of talk from longtime trainer and manager Steffi Bull about Terry Harper implementing a bit of switch hitting, fighting out of both the orthodox and southpaw stances. I expect to see a little bit of that tomorrow.
All Ivana Habazin can offer up tomorrow is durability and a face to punch. I wouldn't be surprised if Ivana goes the distance, but
I wouldn't be surprised if she gets stopped. The same way she got stopped years ago by Sweden's own Michaela Lauren. Michaela poured it on thick and got Ivana out of there. forced a referee stoppage. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens tomorrow.
Terry's glowing.
Growing into this weight, very comfortable. A happy, healthy fighter is a dangerous fighter.
Yeah.
That's Terry.
She's gonna fuck her up.
That's what I expect. Target practice for Terry Harper behind a judicious jab.
Ivana won't be able to keep up.
Keep on her, Terry will walk her into straight punches and step into it when the situation allows it.
Bring over right hands.
No surprises. I don't expect any surprises tomorrow in Harper versus Habazin. Terry to win is the way to go.
So I've got it.
Reference to that fight, that card, I'm sure that most of you are all aware by now. Mauricio Lara has been stripped of his WBA featherweight world title after coming in overweight at 129 pounds for his rematch with Leigh Wood tomorrow. BBBOC said Lara couldn't be less than 128 pounds due to a high check weight on Wednesday, stopping him from attempting to make 126 pounds in 2 days.
The rule of thumb usually is that rematches are often won by the fighter that can make the most adjustments. I happen to think that's Leigh Wood more than Mauricio Lara.
Both boys can punch. You know, Leigh Wood, he's strong for this weight. But then again, so is Mauricio Lara, with the difference between them being that Leigh Wood is more the boxer and Mauricio is more the puncher. Mauricio, who was not allowed to make featherweight by the BBBOC, a move that's garnering a lot of criticism. The hierarchy of thought, the rhyme and the reason behind that decision is that at the weight that he was at Wednesday, the BBBOC feels it would be unsafe for Mauricio to make featherweight. Thus, they won't allow him to do it, even if it costs him his WBA title.
They don't think he could have shed 2 pounds in 2 days?
Perhaps he could have, but they don't think it's safe, so they won't let him do it.
Not based on what he weighed on Wednesday.
It's hard to say that this is Mauricio Lara's fault more than it's the BBBOC. They want to be stringent all of a sudden. They want to meddle. They want to intervene and get in the way with their stipulations.
Remember, the BBBOC stripped John Riel Casimiro of the WBO bantamweight title for using a sauna.
You heard that right. For using a sauna. You could probably get away with that here in the United States and any variety of states with their own respective commissions, but not in the UK and not with the BBBOC.
So is it really that Mauricio missed the weight, or is it that the BBBOC is a pain in the fucking ass?
I will leave such judgments up to you. How does this affect the fight? Well, Leigh Wood was a professional, a consummate professional. He made the weight. He made featherweight, whereas Mauricio seems to have been struggling a bit.
What's that got to do with the fight?
Making that weight, sometimes you end up leaving something in the gym. I didn't forget how the last fight ended. It ended with a violent knockout, a violent left hook that flatlined Leigh Wood. Leigh Wood, who made 126, but Mauricio, he didn't.
So perhaps he's not as drained?
Came in at 129.
Practically came in at super featherweight.
Ben Davison isn't happy. Ben Davison, who trains Leigh Wood, so I'm going to be honest here.
What?
I think Leigh Wood is a better technical and tactical boxer than Mauricio is. I think he's better in terms of nuts and bolts and fundamentals, but he's not stronger than Mauricio or as durable. That's saying that Mauricio can take Leigh Wood's best shot, but Leigh,
he can't take Mauricio's.
we know that. That's what we saw in their initial meeting, in their first fight. So I anticipate that's what we're going to see in the second. This may be the exception to the rule, the exception to the majority.
What happens the majority of the time? That rematches usually are won by the fighter that can make the most adjustments.
Yeah.
That's Leigh Wood.
But I think tomorrow's rematch will be an exception to that rule. I think tomorrow, Mauricio's going to dispatch Leigh Wood the same way he did the first time, emboldened by how the first fight ended.
I picked Mauricio Lara to win that first fight, win it by way of a violent knockout. I think the same thing's going to happen tomorrow. It's unfortunate that it costed him his WBA title.
The title itself is only on the line for Leigh Wood. That's saying that Leigh Wood can win it if he wins the fight, but Mauricio,
he can't win it back. Even if he knocks out Leigh Wood,
won't be WBA champion. He knows he can hurt Leigh Wood. He knows no matter how many rounds Leigh Wood has already banked, all he's got to do is land clean, land once, and he can hurt him. He can take him out.
I don't imagine he's at all happy that he was stripped of his newly obtained WBA title. What do you think that does to Mauricio? You think he's happy about that, or do you think it pisses him off?
I think he's pissed, and I think he's primed to take that frustration out on Lee Wood. I'd be happy if Lee Wood secured the W, you know. I ain't got a horse in the race. I ain't got nothing against Lee Wood, and I ain't got nothing against Mauricio Lara.
No.
I just feel it's likelier than not we see a repeat instead of revenge.
Yeah.
Mauricio, knowing he can hurt this guy, knowing he can stop him, that's only gonna embolden him.
I've got Mauricio Lara by way of knockout.
Go to sleep.
Go ahead.
You dreaming, man. You talking in your dreams,
Don't
man.
fight. Yo, we asked for that fight plenty of times, yo. Plenty of times.
When?
Plenty of times.
What's plenty? When?
I often go through this myself here on the channel when I ask individuals direct questions.
Here you see Terrence Crawford asking Jaron Boots Ennis when. When did he ask for a fight with him? Who did he ask for a fight with him?
You see Jaron Boots Ennis coming up short of answers.
Man,
You fronting. You fronting now. Don't front for Gilly now.
No fronting. No
All
fight.
right.
Keep it a being though. We know we asked for that fight plenty of times.
When? That's what I'm saying. When? You keep saying keep it a buck. I'm saying when.
Plenty of
Now
times.
you saying one thing and your dad saying another. So when?
What you mean?
You saying one thing and your dad saying another thing. So what is what?
We asked for that fight. I've been asking for that fight since 2018. What are you talking about? Since I was a baby.
Asking for that fight since 2018 or name-dropping Terrence Crawford since 2018, because those two aren't the same thing. You've been mentioning Terrence Crawford in interviews, mentioning him to Fight Hype or Fight Hub or YSM Media or anybody who will point a camera in your face. You've been mentioning Crawford.
But who have you been asking?
And didn't the people at Black Prime get in contact with your father about a Terrence Crawford fight? Wasn't that this year?
You been asking to fight me since 2018.
All the top guys, man.
Cut it.
I've been suspicious of Jaron Boots Ennis for the longest time because while he's grown comfortable throwing Terrence's name around, Terrence, WBO champion, Jaron Ennis has been fighting in IBF final eliminators.
Moving up the IBF's ranks.
To fight for a title that Terrence doesn't have.
Because you want Terrence so bad.
You believe that? You a fool. You believe that? You a fool. He's drunk. He's sleepy.
The interaction between Terrence Crawford and unbeaten up-and-comer from Philadelphia, Jaron Boots Ennis, was that of a man speaking to a child. I mean, you can see Crawford's comfortable. He's not the one fumbling and stumbling over his own words. He's not the one deflecting from direct questions. If Jaron Boots Ennis says that he's been asking for that fight since 2018, who the fuck has he been asking?
You see that Terrence is calm, cool, collective, and direct, whereas Jaron Ennis
just repeating himself, and when he's not repeating himself, he's stuttering, stumbling over his own words because he knows he's full of shit.
You haven't been asking for a Terrence Crawford fight. You haven't asked anyone for a Terrence Crawford fight. You didn't ask Stephen Espinoza. While Terrence Crawford was free, a network and promotional free agent.
Did you ask Stephen Espinoza at Showtime where you fight to make Terrence an offer? Because Terrence has been a network and promotional free agent for a while now.
Immediately after things fell apart with him and Spence last year, did you tell Stephen to get you a Crawford fight?
Because talking to Fight Hype and name-dropping him on repeat, that's not going to do it. That's not how fights get made. You say you were asking for Crawford? Who did you ask?
No one that mattered, it seems. No one you can name.
Word on the street is, you didn't actually ask for Terrence Crawford, but Terrence Crawford, via Black Prime, they asked for you. They asked for you by name.
After the David Avanesian fight.
And that's not according to some random source, some source that can't be cited, can't be mentioned. That's not according to some journo that claims to have one.
No.
Claims to have a source. That's according to your own father.
Did you guys forget?
Boots and that they reached out. Were those talks ever really tangible?
I saw some stuff about people talking about, like, some discussions with BLK Prime.
You know what I mean? We was trying to set up a fight with him last month because BLK people called us.
I wouldn't characterize that as discussion. There was a discussion.
I said, yeah. We'll take him in a heartbeat, just like that, right? And they said, all right, let's sit down and talk. I said, oh, you got to talk to my people first, though. Showtime.
Yes, sir. But the reality is, they don't have a deal with Crawford.
I never signed nothing with Showtime.
If Crawford's under contract to BLK Prime, then maybe it goes through that. But the reality is,
with no signing, no contract.
They're trying to put together a fight just like we're trying to put together a fight. So the reality is it was a very short conversation. They didn't really bring much to the table in terms of helping make the deal. So there really was no point in following up on that.
See, I'm loyal to Showtime because I'm going to tell y'all,
if there's going to be a Boots and a fight between Boots and Crawford, there are easier ways to do it without going through them.
See, I'm loyal to Showtime because I'm gonna tell y'all, I never signed nothing with Showtime. They fair with me, I'm fair with them, with no signing, no contract.
Don't you remember 2 months ago, Bozy Ennis made an appearance on the Stamina for Sale podcast with Tunde Ajayi and Spencer Fearon, and he admitted that Black Prime reached out to him and his son for a fight, and all he could talk about was how loyal he was to Showtime.
Yeah.
How they don't actually have a contract with Showtime.
Yeah.
So after you get off the phone with the people at Black Prime and you decide you don't want to go that route, did you get on the phone with Stefan and did you get on the phone with Showtime to see if they can make Terrence an offer, if they can do the fight?
You didn't. You know you fucking didn't. We all know you didn't.
What you thought was that you were going to put pressure on Terrence Crawford by way of name association without actually pursuing a fight, i.e., you were clout chasing. They wanted you to be the anti-Crawford, the boogeyman, and all that exposed.
You didn't want it.
You didn't want the fight. When push came to shove.
You didn't want it.
I don't give two furry flamingo-shaped fucks how talented you think this kid is, how high a ceiling you think he has. I don't care because all of that is irrelevant to the subject. And the subject at hand here is, who the fuck did Jaron Ennis ask for a Terrence Crawford fight? When did he ask for a Terrence Crawford fight? Because all we have on record is his father turning down a Terrence Crawford fight.
Frauds.
Further gets exposed on Gilly the Kid's podcast. You call in and you can't answer simple questions. Simple and direct questions to quantify what it is you're talking about. You say you've been asking for Terrence since 2018. I think if you really wanted Terrence...
What's that, 5 years?
You're telling me in 5 years you couldn't secure a position by way of the WBO to become his mandatory challenger? You couldn't do that even though you had 5 years to do it.
You're full of fucking shit.
He's full of it. He never wanted a Terrence Crawford fight.
You would have been better off not mentioning that guy's name at all, because now you look like Boo Boo the Fool.